So I said you gotta wait.
You know, let me start because I may be different from a lot of people. I'm very proud of Tyler Perry. He's created a place and a space. I try to watch his shows. Sometimes it's funny. Meet the Browns is probably something that I'm going to admit I think sometimes it's funny, especially with a short, fat, bald guy. I think he can be hilarious at times. The Family That Prays Together I thought was a good attempt at a quality movie with Kathy Bates. And one or two of his movies were okay. And his tentacles are long. Maybe that's the wrong term to use. Tentacles may have a negative connotation, but he's got his own studio sound. I think that he has a long-term plan. People need to let him get there. However, and I wrote about this too, the problem I have with people who attack Tyler Perry for his minstrel show is that they don't have the same venom and vitriol for Lil Wayne. They don't have the same venom and vitriol for Young Jeezy, for DJ Khaled, for the fake Rick Ross. They don't have the same vitriol. He's a boss, right? That dude licking his watch, he probably thought it was a cheesesteak. But so they don't have the same vitriol for everybody else who sells out on a regular basis and make money. Jay-Z is probably close to being a billionaire any minute now. He's still rapping about crack and watches. Well, I would hope being $100 millionaire, you can afford a decent watch. The crack cocaine I don't get. You know, he lost me when he made the concept album for American Gangster. I saw he was losing it. Every 40-year-old rapper can't, you know, do what Chuck D does, even intellectually, but and he needed Kanye West more than Kanye West needed him, in my opinion. That's just my commentary. Y'all can respond to that later. So, yes, I have some issues with Tyler Perry, but Tyler Perry's influence is minimal compared to what we see with the clowns in the hip-hop community.
Exactly. Okay, I think we're going to have our first debate up here. Okay. You know, when you look at everything I want to say about Tyler Perry, Aaron Magruder, the Boondocks.
Oh, I love the Boondocks. I love the Boondocks.
He just dead on. But apart from that, when you look at the influence of a Tyler Perry, and then you compare that to a Lil Wayne and Jeezy and Rick Ross, it's completely different. Because hip-hop, by definition, is directed to a quote-unquote rebellious class, young people. And young people pretty much want the anti-stuff. They want the gangster stuff. They want the stuff their parents don't like. So I think it's really, it wastes time going after Lil Wayne because there's always going to be a Lil Wayne in hip-hop, in rock, in any of that type of rebellious music. But having said that, when you look at any of the work that, and I use the word work loosely, that Tyler Perry has done, it's all a minstrel show. It's all plotless. It's all pointless. It's all shallow. It's all maudlin. Anybody in here could write a script that Tyler Perry has written. Anybody could, and that tells you something. How is it that folks who've never been to film school, never written a script, can actually write something that Tyler Perry has done? That tells you. And the other problem with Tyler Perry is that Hollywood loves him. When your enemy loves somebody, you got to ask yourself, why do they love him? So for all those reasons, I got to say thumbs down on Tyler Perry. Everything.
Do I get time to respond?
You want to respond?
I do. I give you time. Right?
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Thank you. First, I want to say I won't raise anybody's taxes. But why is hip hop sacred?
For the same reason rock is.
Wait, no. I'm talking. So why can we hold black politicians accountable? We can hold black teachers accountable, professors, business people, directors, producers, writers, but somehow we say hands off hip hop. Yet it has such a profound impact on how we see ourselves. When we talk about an image, whether it's positive or negative, I'll be damned if I leave Lil Wayne alone. No, I'm gonna challenge him and hold him accountable because he has an influence over my nephews, right? I'm gonna hold Jay-Z accountable. I'm gonna hold Young Jeezy accountable. I'm gonna hold Rick Ross, and I'm gonna hold everybody accountable across the board. Nobody gets a free pass. if you look at some of the stuff that he's doing, Flip Wilson did it. Talk about the history of us in the media. He did some of the same things that Red Fox did. He did some of the same things that Richard Pryor did. He did. I mean, Martin. Nobody's trashing Martin Lawrence for putting on the dress.
Right.
I mean, nobody trashed Jamie Foxx for doing it. So why is it, Wanda, I'm gonna rock your world. So why is it that? And by the way, I take issue with white Hollywood supports him. In fact, he made it very clear that they didn't.
Exactly.
That he had to make his money through his plays and us coming to watch him, stacking that money, and then making movies that we went to see without Hollywood support, stacking that money. Then created his own production company, studio, so forth and so on. I'm not sure that Hollywood loves it. I think that enough of us love it for him to be successful. And I'm going to go back again, Michael, to why does hip-hop get a free pass?
Well, I have an answer to that. And the first answer is, as a criminal defense attorney, one of the things we can never do is this. We can never say that my client should get off after the shooting because the other guy got off after the shooting. If both of them did the shooting, they both should go to jail. So I'm not here to defend Wayne. I don't want the straw man argument to be set up such that I'm sitting here to defend Wayne. I'm not defending Wayne. That's the first thing. So they all should go to hell. Wayne along with Tyler Perry. That's my first point. That's my first point. And my second point is, when you look at the degree of pollution, certainly Tyler Perry causes more than Wayne. Why? Because when you look at middle-class white America knows very little about Lil Wayne. They know everything about Tyler Perry in terms of the imagery. There are more middle-class whites, and of course I haven't done a study, so I can't back it up with facts and figures, but I will say that the average middle-class white person could tell you about the imagery presented by Tyler Perry more than they could about Lil Wayne. In fact, one of the arguments I often make is that one of the worst days for me in hip-hop was when 3 6 Mafia won an Academy Award. Because there was an audience out there that didn't know about that garbage. And now that they're out there, people are like, oh, is that hip-hop? I guess to summarize my argument, I'm not here to defend Wayne or Jeezy or Rick Ross or any of them. I'm simply saying that if you're sending out a bad message about black people, you ought to be condemned. All of them.
Okay. Agreed. I don't know. The only point that I would just disagree with, I don't know that Tyler Perry has more exposure than a Lil Wayne, even with the middle class whites. I mean, they love that music, and they're big the consumers of the music, right? But I do. I mean, so with Tyler Perry, it's a weird kind of thing because I do enjoy the story of what he's been able to accomplish in that part of it. And I think that the emphasis,
the fact that there's no talent behind it, I think you would agree that you could write the script.
Yeah, the script. I mean, the movies, the plot is that's. But I think that's a part of the consumers, right? What do we demand, right? I mean, I think it's not a matter of just kind of writing them off, but like demanding better, right? Because I feel like there's some merit there in what they've been able to accomplish and kind of building their own. But we have to demand, better from that product.
My problem with this